I'm back. Mr. Clarke's back. Time to take a look at 1903 as we look at the spread of communism into East Asia. Today we'll analyze how Mao Zedong turned China into a communist state. We'll look at China's role in the Cold War. We'll look at the causes and the impact of the Korean War. One, what was resumed in China after World War II? As we alluded to in our previous discussions, Chinese communists and nationalists took a break from their ongoing civil war within China to fight the Japanese in the lead up to and including World War II. But once World War II came to an end, they still had their differences between nationalists and communists. They could not come to an agreement. So when you look at China, it was united in defending Japan during World War II. The Chinese Civil War resumed after World War II came to an end. The nationalists, led by Chiang Kai-shek, attempted to hold off the growing communist rebellion led by Mao Zedong. Who ended up winning the Chinese Revolution in 1949? Well, I'm sure you know this already. Mao Zedong and the communists won. Mao established the People's Republic of China, or the PRC. 3, why did the communists win the Civil War in China? Zedong won support of China's huge peasant population. Zedong promised to end harsh taxes and fairly distribute land. Women who were oppressed under the nationalists supported Mao Zedong with the hope that life would be better for them. And educated Chinese supported him, calling for additional reforms. 17, how did Mao Zedong, the new leader of the People's Republic of China, attempt to improve the Chinese economy? Zedong nationalized all businesses, which is kind of like a core, trait of a communist state. Similar to Stalin, who implemented 5-year plans to develop agriculture and industry, Mao Zedong followed that blueprint. They constructed hydroelectric plants, developed railroads and canals to help with infrastructure, and they collectivized all farmland. 5, how Mao Zedong go about establishing a totalitarian government in China? Communist ideology replaced Confucian philosophies. They banned religion. They eliminated the class system. No longer were there landlords and business leaders. They eliminated political parties other than the Communist Party, which is once again a trait of communism, a one-party system. Strict censorship, so there's no opposition to communism in China. They eliminated opposition who tried to speak out. Millions were imprisoned or murdered. 6, how did Mao Zedong attempt to improve literacy rate in China? To increase literacy, Chinese characters were simplified, making it easier to read and write. Schools were open for the young as well as the old, as many older Chinese had no formal education to that point in time. 7, what changes did Mao Zedong implement for women in China? Under new Chinese laws, women won equality under the law. 8, what was the Great Leap Forward program in China? Superhuman effort was made to increase agricultural and industrial production. Communes consisting of several villages of around 25,000 people on thousands of acres of land. This included schools, factory, housing, and dining halls, kind of like sub-communities within a broader community. And each commune had production quotas to meet. And you can see some of the superhuman effort. First of all, the middle image there is kind of a propaganda poster, kind of glorifying the Great Leap Forward program, and then the left and right side are some actual imagery from that period of time, including an image portraying Mao Zedong on top of a bus moving workers in and out, or a train rather. 9. What were the results of the Great Leap Forward in China? The Great Leap Forward was actually a great leap backwards, as temporarily the economy took a step back. Factories turned out poor products as they attempted to meet the high quota demands. Agricultural production declined as there was no self-motivation. You just kind of plugged away at the day. If you have an actual capitalistic society where you're actually making money, you'll be more motivated to work hard. From 1959 to 1961, more than 30 million Chinese starved to death during a Great famine as they moved over to the collectivization system. 10. What was the Cultural Revolution in China? In 1966, Mao Zedong encouraged all citizens to experience the revolution firsthand. It was designed to further unite all Chinese behind Zedong and communism. 11. Why did Mao Zedong have to stop the Cultural Revolution? There was chaos in China, and managers and skilled workers had been sent to labor camps, schools and factories closed, and civil war was a possibility. You see some images here once again. Propaganda poster, Mao Zedong, godlike figure, Cultural Revolution poster on the left side there, kind of motivating everybody behind the idea of supporting Chinese communism and Mao Zedong. 12. After China turned communist in 1949, what happened to its relationship with the United States? It's kind of one of the more interesting things in world history. The United States just refused to recognize the Communist People's Republic of China. They did not recognize Mao Zedong as its leader. Instead, the United States continued to support Chiang Kai-shek and the nationalist government in exile on the island of Taiwan. In 1972, after 25 years, President Nixon visited Zedong in China, and the United States officially recognized China. Just to clarify and explain a little bit more, so from 1949 through 1972, the United States did not trade with China. Americans could not travel to China directly from the United States to China. A good way to compare it in more contemporary times would be the United States' relationship with Cuba. From 1959 through the Obama administration, the United States had banned all trade and travel with Cuba because they were communist and oppressive to their people. The United States felt that Mao Zedong was not the rightful leader and that communists were oppressive to their citizens in China, so they did not recognize China for that period of time. And China being the most populous country and the United States the most powerful country, it kind of seems absurd that we just had no relationship whatsoever with China for such a long period of time, nearly a quarter of a century. 13, what does it mean that the United States played the China card? Well, we did this with the Soviets. They were a greater threat. The United States benefited from the friction between China and the Soviet Union. So as long as the Chinese and the Soviet Union did not unite together, the United States felt like they were in a good position to hold off communism in a potential Cold War battle. 14, how was Chiang Kai-shek's government in Taiwan similar to Mao Zedong's government in China? They were both one-party dictatorships with martial law, direct control, no real freedoms for the citizens. Next, we'll look at Korea. Why did the Korean War break out in 1950? Again, we see a communist threat here. The North Koreans wanted all of communism, all of Korea to be communist. The assault by the United States and UN forces came very close to the communist China's border. This triggered action by the Chinese to help out the North Koreans. So basically, we look here at the map. It's easier for me to explain. So initially, the North Koreans went into South Korea, pushed all the way to the southern position here in South Korea. The United States and the United Nations troops came in. We pushed the North Koreans out of South Korea right to the border with China. Then the Chinese came in across the Yalu River. See the Yalu River there. And they pushed the United States troops back south of the armistice line, and Korea ended up divided at the exact same spot as they did, which is 38th parallel there, exact same spot that they were divided prior to the North Korean invasion of South Korea. The United States still has troops along this line here, the demilitarized zone between South and North Korea. And it's still one of the more hot spots in the world today where potential world war could break out. So as I alluded to here, despite heavy casualties on both sides, the nation remained divided at the 38th parallel. North Korea was communist, South Korea democratic. The United States has kept troops in South Korea since the end of the Korean War. We were pushing 70 years of American troops in Korea. 17, how would you describe King Kim Il-sung, the leader of Korea, he was stubborn, full of himself, very prideful, self-absorbed. And the lesson reflection, why does North Korea continue to be one of the most challenging foreign policy concerns for the United States and our allies? And once again, I alluded to that already. It is led by an oppressive dictator, Kim Jong-un, who possesses nuclear weapons. He's constantly making threatening comments towards the United States, South Korea, and Japan. So the United States, even under former President Trump, had to deal with several outbreaks of issues with North Korea, and it remains a hotspot and a source of concern during the Biden administration today. Until next time, Mr. Clarke is out.